short program that is expected. If you look at the time right now, of course, we expect an arrival already of all the service chiefs, the judiciary, of course, also in attendance. It's one of those few occasions where all three branches of government are gathered in the same place, besides, I think, the opening of Parliament and the national budget appropriation bill announcement being the other two occasions that all three branches of government are usually together. Of course, we see the procession has started moving. Our time is exactly about 26 minutes past 9 o'clock. And Colonel, you're saying they're expected to arrive at 9:45 at Heroes Acre.
Exactly. At 9:45, we expect the casket to arrive at Heroes Acre. As you can see that they have already left Independence, and I believe they are now entering the softball street on their way to Heroes Acre. The formation that you can see, or the leading vehicle currently, that is the Agarare with the NDF chaplain, that is Wing Commander Jekonia Taukuheke. Jekonia Taukuheke will be joined by the bishop who will be leading the procession at Heroes Acre. I was informed that there is a bishop, I think even according to the program, there should be a bishop there. So the Agarare, it's followed by the gun carriage, pulled by the RG-32 armed personal carrier. That is the vehicle that is pulling the gun carriage with a casket on. And then they are also followed by the rear protection armed personal vehicle, two of them. Those are the armed personal vehicle. These ones are the forward protection, and then you have two forward protection and two rear protection. And then we also have, again today, our air support operation conducted by 3 helicopters, the Alouette, and then the Mi-24 helicopters. So that air operation is very, very critical to provide air support.
Those are, of course, just some visuals from the Heroes Acre as we speak. What's happening, of course, at the Heroes Acre as well. Live, we see that there is already attendance at the Heroes Acre, and the numbers, of course, are filling up slowly but surely as well. And these are, of course, some of the visuals from there, Colonel.
I spoke to you earlier that we have street lining. Those are the troops forming part of the street lining. It's a combination of both forces. You have the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Currently, the visuals that you are seeing, those are from the Navy in white. So they are waiting. Once the escort commander give the command, they will adopt, they will salute and pay compliment as the casket of the late passed by them.
And you're saying that they're lining up right from the entrance of just the turn-off from the B1,
just the turn-off,
Heroes Acre.
Just from the turn-off until at the internal flame there.
What is the distance between the offices? Because it looks like it's calculated.
Yeah, the distance is between 5 to 10 meters between them. So it's a big number that you have there, more than 200 troops. More than 200 troops that are now stationed just for that? Yeah, on the side, alongside both left and right of the road.
We, of course, see also crowds in attendance there at the Heroes Acre. It will definitely get full before the beginning of the program at the Heroes Acre. Just to take a look at the order of procession for today, it will be the Namibia Defence Force Chaplain, the casket, His Excellency Nongolo Mbumba, President of the Republic of Namibia, Commander-in-Chief of the Namibian Defence Force, Chief Mourner, and Madam Kengos, the widow, as well. The children and the grandchildren, representative, etc., are following after that. At 10 o'clock sharp, the program will start with the National and African Union anthems, and then remarks will be made by the Director of Ceremonies, the Director of the Ceremony, the Right Honourable Prime Minister of the Republic, Saraho Ngwela Madela, and the Minister of Defence, Honourable Franz Kapofi, are the directors of ceremony of the program today. After that, we'll have a prayer and scripture reading by Reverend Bishop Zacchaeus Treep, Evangelical Lutheran Church in the Republic of Namibia. And then after that, we will have a performance by the Namibian Defence Force military band, and then basically the only speech at the Heroes Acre, a message by His Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, President of Namibia and Commander-in-Chief of the Namibian Defence Force, and Chief Mona will deliver that statement. Immediately after that, the casket is taken to the gravesite, and then the removal of the flag by the bearers, and then the lowering of the casket will follow concurrently with the 21-gun salute and the fly past, and then there will be the last post and the revel as well, and then after that the rite of committal by retired Reverend Bishop Zacchaeus Tape from the Evangelical Lutheran Church as well. After that, we'll have the covering of the grave by the Namibian Defence Force, and then the handing over of accoutrements to Madam Kengos, a widow, by His Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, President of the Republic of Namibia and Commander-in-Chief of the Namibian Defence Force.
Well, the procession is proceeding now to Heroes Acre. As you can see the visuals in front there, we have the city police and NAMPOL sweepers, followed by the front protection, that's the P05 armed personnel carrier, followed by the AJAABU with the chaplain, NDF chaplain, Wing Commander Jekonia Taukuheke from Air Base Grootfontein, Air Base Karibeb. And then we have the RG-32, also an APC, that is pulling now the gun carriage with a casket of our late president. And as we are seeing now, this is the street line that I have been talking about, from the main entrance there, actually from the turning point from B1 up to the internal flame in the Heroes Acre. So there you have members from the Namibian Navy, and then you also have some members from the Army and also from the Air Force. So those are the troops assigned to line up for receiving the casket. As it passes through them, they will respect. They will pay a respect, which is a military honor, to the fallen late president.
Of course, in terms of what we've also seen there, the arrival of quite a number of international dignitaries. We have 18 heads of state, sitting heads of state, that are attending the funeral from across the world. We, of course, also have about 27 delegations on behalf of heads of state that could not be here, that are attending the funeral as well. And you see some of those arrivals at the Heroes Acre. Colonel, there's one important activity, of course, that also takes place towards the end, and that's when the handing over of the accoutrements to the widow by His Excellency. Of course, the flag is going to be removed from the coffin, and part of the accoutrements that will be handed over to the widow would be the flag as well. Just chat to us about the symbolic importance of that handover.
That will also consist of the headdress. That's the cape, the uniform, camouflage. That included the rank insignia of the former commander-in-chief, plus one of his awards, medals, that was awarded to him during, I think, during his inauguration 2015, if I'm not mistaken. So that package will be handed over by the commander-in-chief to the family, in this case to the widow, to receive it. This is just an indication, or it's in memory that the commander-in-chief had a very big position in this country. Being a commander-in-chief, those rank insignia should be displayed somewhere in the house for future memory, to remember that this was for the president. And also the flag, it's a national symbol, and therefore giving it or presenting it to the widow and the family, it's very, very important for them to keep it as a memory that the late was someone very, very important, not only in Namibia, globally, and we will see how that procession is going to take place.
Of course, moving through Sean McBride now with the casket of the late president. These are live visuals from Sean McBride Street here in the city of Windhoek, headed to the Heroes Acre. The Heroes Acre, of course, the shrine where all the heroes of Namibia get laid to rest. I would also like to take the opportunity to just to welcome all our viewers that are joining us across sub-Saharan Africa. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for mourning with the Namibian nation and mourning for your fellow African leader. At the same time, I also like to welcome all the listeners that are joining us on our radio services, the radio language services, all 11 of them, of course, 9 different native languages are being represented, and that news and the burial of the president being brought in those different languages as well. So if you don't prefer English, you can always switch your audio to one of the local languages on the radio, and of course hear it in a language that you understand as well. In the next few minutes they will be arriving there, and then we can reflect on it. I'm still accompanied here in studio by Colonel Shulumbu.
The procession have just entered Frankie Fredericks Street, and they are passing behind Lady Pohamba, the hospital where our late president passed on. And immediately they will enter Ours Street or Ours Road, then into B1 leading to Rehoboth, then turn off into Heroes Acre. So with the timing, I don't think we are behind time. We have now about 10 minutes
to get there,
to get to Heroes Acre. And also the RG32 APC that is now pulling the gun carriage. The tires, you can see, they are also painted white.
Also painted white as well.
Yeah, it's just for this ceremony. It's not the normal color for that APC. And then you still have, at the rear, you also have those protection vehicles, the APCs, 05, P05 armed personal vehicle. And they are proceeding, and we expect them to arrive on time at Heroes Acre.
Also on your right hand side there, that's the Lady Pohamba Hospital that accommodated the late president upon his arrival from the United States.
And I can see that they have also maintained the speed of between 20 and 35 kilometers per hour. They are not speeding, and they have enough time to just arrive at Heroes Acre as per plan or as per the program.
Of course, the streets are still lined up there. We have it on the right hand side. That's the visuals of the Lady Pohamba Hospital there as well. We know, of course, that at independence on the 21st of March 1990, Dr. GEINGOB was appointed as the first Prime Minister, where he dismantled the apartheid administrative system in favor of an inclusive public service geared towards serving the interest of all Namibians. And he served, of course, for 12 years in the position of Prime Minister before taking a brief hiatus from political sphere, and in 2005 returned as politics and served as chief whip of the SWAPO party in the National Assembly, and also chaired the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Economics. There we have it. Of course, the arrival still continuing. That's the second president,
yes,
of the Republic of Namibia, Dr. Hifikepunye Pohamba.
And Madame Pohamba.
And Madame Pohamba, of course, arriving at the Heroes Acre. And immediately after that, according to protocol, we should be expecting the arrival of the founding father of the Namibian nation, Dr. Sam Shafashuna Nyoma. Of course, following his election in 2007 as Vice President of SWAPO, Dr. GEINGOB was appointed in 2008 as the Minister of Trade and Industry. And as Minister, Dr. GEINGOB's PA headed the Small and Medium Enterprises or SME Assistance through the equipment aid scheme, the industry policy, and of course the creation of the SME Bank. These visuals you're seeing are now live at the same time from the Independence, not the Independence rather, but the Heroes Acre on your left, and on your right hand side the procession that's heading to the Heroes Acre. A fervent defender, of course, of the unity of the Namibian people. His themes always included inclusivity. Talking about inclusivity spells harmony, and exclusivity spells conflict. One Namibia, one nation, and no one should be left out of the Namibian house. Just one, but many of the sound bites and the themes that the president shared with us during his time in office. A proponent of we have it, of course. That's the one of our guests of honor, a very, very good friend of the late president, His Excellency Masisi, the president of Botswana, arriving to be part of the procession for today. Of course, Namibia and Botswana, it's not only shared brotherly neighborness, but the two presidents also shared a very, very close bond as well. President Masisi being the first head of state to, in fact, make his way the following day after the passing of the president, immediately on the Monday, his way to Windhoek to come and pay respects, and of course his condolences to the widow as well as the Namibian people. We will see more arrivals, of course, of those international guests and heads of state, about 18 of them present here in the country. We know at the memorial you didn't see the South African president, but he, of course, also arrived a bit later on, I think just after 8 o'clock last night. He arrived and he will be at the funeral. Cyril Ramaphosa, of course, His Excellency was here about a fortnight ago to come and pay respects before returning back to South Africa to handle official business on that end as well. The Emir of Qatar, Al Thani, also arriving. He, of course, also made efforts to head to Casa Rosalia yesterday after arrival and went to personally go pay respects to the widow as well as the Namibian people. Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa bin Hamad Abdullah bin Jassim bin Mohammed Al Thani is his full name. He's a member of the ruling Al Thani Qatari royal family and was the ruling Emir of Qatar from 1995 until 2013 when he abdicated the throne, handing over power to his fourth son, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, who was born to his second spouse, Moza Nazir. The Qatari government refers to him as Father Emir, and he's referred, of course, in Qatar basically as the founding father on that end as well. Very, very strong business and economic ties that Qatar seeks to establish with Namibia, as they have that as well. There are, of course, visuals of the elder son of the late president, Mangaliso GEINGOB, Mangaliso Fernandez GEINGOB, also one of the pallbearers. The Chinese delegation, of course, also arriving there. We know the Chinese delegation, quite a high-level delegation, was also sent to come and represent these very, very serious trading partners of Namibia. And they have come in to pay their respects. Of course, also a strong statement of solidarity delivered by them at the memorial yesterday, highlighting the Pan-African efforts by the late president, as well as his knack for unifying whichever environment he finds himself in. China, of course, also indicating their recommitment to the solidarity and friendship between the two countries, and saying that despite what the country is going through right now, they can rely on China as a friend during all sorts of weather. Of the Angolan president, João Lourenço. The Angolan president, João Lourenço, of course, also came with a strong delegation of 22, accompanied by the first lady as well as the first daughter. João Lourenço, of course, quite close to our late president as well. Angola, a country that has a very, very rich brotherly history with Namibia. Our fight for the liberation struggle, some of it, of course, also waged there. The Kasinga Day, the massacre, the Kasinga massacre that took place, that is, of course, on the 4th in Angola as well. So the relationship between the two countries, quite a significant one there as well. In the frame there, you can see an elder statesman, Joaquim Chissano, the former president of Mozambique, also considered one of the elder statesmen. Of course, he's here alongside the likes of Olusegun Obasanjo, as well as Thabo Mbeki as elder statesman. Joaquim Chissano was the president of Mozambique from 1986 up until 2005. Quite a revered political figure in that country. And he's credited with transforming the war-torn country of Mozambique into a successful African democracy. After his presidency, Chissano became an elder statesman, an envoy and diplomat for both his home country and the United Nations as well.
The procession is about to arrive at the roadblock. As we can see that some of these visuals that are coming in are currently on B1, and we expect them to arrive anytime soon to Heroes Acre. The RG32 APC pulling the gun carriage is still proceeding on a good speed, which is between 20 and 35 km/h. It's followed by the rear protection. I should also mention that immediately after the roadblock, the protection will not enter Heroes Acre. The protection vehicles are likely to turn to the right to the new constructed road to Okahanja. They will break right, and then the gun carriage being pulled by the RG32 will continue into Heroes Acre. So it's only the army provost, the small cars might enter the Heroes Acre. Otherwise it will be a little bit difficult for them to turn around and maneuver in Heroes Acre, since the parking it's also limited there.
We also saw just the arrival of the Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi, and of course one can only assume that they came together with the elder statesman there as well, again indicating unity within that political space as well. He's been serving as the president of Mozambique since 2015. At the same time, of course, inaugurated the same year and the same time with our late president as well. And he's the current leader of the Frelimo party, the party that has governed Mozambique since its independence from Portugal in 1975. Additionally, he also served as the chairman of the Southern African Development Community, SADC, since August 2020. So they're currently sitting on the seat as the chair as well. And during his time, President Nyusi has promoted peace and security and signed multiple agreements with the Renamo, who is, of course, their arch rivals in Mozambique there as well. And talking about other elders, of course, in the political space there, Jerry Akanjo, former member of cabinet, of course, an anti-apartheid activist also arriving there, one of the founding members of the SWAPO party, and of course a very, very strong voice in the party until this day, arriving there to come and pay respects and say goodbye to his fallen comrade. The delegation from Nigeria also arriving there now, being received by Ambassador Ipumbu, the chief of protocol. On his right is the recently sworn-in new Minister of Information and Communication Technology, Emma Theophilus. Emma Theophilus, of course, also forming part of that legacy of the late president, as he was very deliberate in terms of empowering young people. Only at the age of 23, the tender age, she became the youngest member of parliament by selection of the president. as part of his 8 that he has to appoint to the parliamentary structure, and only becoming the youngest member of parliament at 23 in the world, and now recently, about a fortnight ago, also appointed by the new president as the Minister of Information and Communication Technology, making her the youngest minister on the continent at the tender age of 27. In the area, of course, of youth development and support, the president having done quite a lot of work there as well, the appointment of the likes of Patience Masua as the member of parliament as well, and other roles and responsibilities that young people have been provided throughout his administration. He's also one of only 3 presidents on the continent that had a dedicated youth advisor in the president's office, reporting directly to him as well, of course in the form of Desiree Obal. We're seeing, Colonel, quite a lot of movement and the arrivals of the international delegates and guests, quite smoothly done as well. But I must appreciate that there is quite a lot of security apparatus that operates in the background. What is the kind of collaboration that you have when high-level delegations such as a president's visit?
What normally happens, both defense, NAMPOL, city police, or the security cluster, they come together. They also form up committees to discuss the security around the venue where the ceremony is going to take place. So there is a coordinated meeting from time to time that is being called, and they liaise and they discuss matters of security. And that's why you see that when people arrive, all the protocols are in place and everything, it's just moving smoothly. It's because these people, they have coordinated already who's to receive who, who's to provide what, who's to be where. Therefore, you don't see confusion. People are received on time. Immediately as they are arriving, there is already a dedicated person who go and receive them. And then you can see also the security personnel are also just in the background to make sure that everything is in place.
So you've got more arrivals at the Heroes Acre as well, as the casket is, of course, also making its way. If you just joined us, a very good morning to you and welcome. You are watching the live broadcast of the burial of the 3rd President of the Republic of Namibia and the Commander-in-Chief of the Namibia Defense Force, Dr. HAGE GEINGOB. Of course, if you have missed any of the interviews, the previous interviews, then please do make sure to go to our YouTube platform, so for you to be able to listen to some of those conversations. We see there the Zambian President, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, of course, arriving as well to Heroes Acre. Had quite a busy schedule over the last week, but made it right in the middle of the memorial service. Said he's not missing the funeral for any other region. Of course, if you know the relationship between Zambia and Namibia, also a very, very special relationship that tracks back to the liberation struggle of Namibia. We know that many of the civil servants, including ministers, executive directors, of course, formerly known as permanent secretaries, all of them, close to 80% trained in Zambia at the United Nations Institute for Namibia, that is officially opened by the former president of Zambia, Kenneth Kaunda, in 1976, with the late President GEINGOB as the director during that time as well. Colonel?
Ricardo, I can see that the street lining has been extended from the turning point to the roadblock. And as I indicated earlier that the forward and the rear protection were not going to end the Heroes Acre, I can see that that road has been blocked and they could not turn to their right, but I can see they are proceeding to Heroes Acre because it's overcrowded. The traffic, the volume of traffic at that turning point, it's very high. So therefore, they have proceeded to Heroes Acre. So the street lining has started from the roadblock until at the internal flame. So the army have started, the army troops have started with the street lining at the roadblock, and this is now the turning point. They are already in the turning point. You can see the casket it's approaching actually
So
the Heroes
it's,
Acre.
it's much longer than we initially anticipated.
Exactly.
So we could be looking at way more than the